So, just as an experiment, I almost feel more comfortable walking around with a big American flag and a Trump t-shirt, walking all around, Warkworth, getting to know the locals, chatting to people in some bars, going through the supermarkets, with my big American flag, my American flag t-shirt with, Trump on it, fist pumping, in the air as he's dodging a bullet. I pretty much feel more comfortable doing that and saying, hey, I think New Zealand should, become a part of America, or we should, become the 51st state, or, become a state, or become a US territory. I think we should ditch the nuclear free zone so that we can have, much better, much more fluid exchange, between our two nations, which would benefit us both in a lot of ways, actually. I feel more comfortable saying that than, talking about some of these very complicated issues in New Zealand, like the Treaties Principle Bill, or, this, the fact that it's kind of like, there's kind of like a separate nation within New Zealand that has their own, slightly different set of rights and things, and it is what it is, I'm not, I don't want to dispute any of that, right? But at the same time, because of that and other sort of woke ideologies that piggyback on that, I haven't had a job for over a year, and I've been applying for job after job after job. I've been getting, I've gotten 3 different licenses through Work and Income. They've been really awesome. It's a good thing about New Zealand. We have an excellent social welfare system here, a lot better than America. Hopefully they can learn from us. So, I'm very, obviously very thankful for that, but because I'm very vocal on Facebook, on Twitter, on, YouTube, and I tell people, it's the first thing I talk about. I talk about these issues. How do you feel about the response during COVID? Do you feel happy with the freedoms that you have here in how the system is in New Zealand? Is there anything you think the government, you think could be done better? And, people seem, scared to even have a chat, So there's just, it's complicated, but obviously we want freedom, right? You want freedom, and you may go for a political party. You may stand behind a political party that you feel represents your best interests, right? If you're a New Zealand Māori, and you 100% unequivocally, fully stand behind Te Pāti Māori, because you feel that that is for your best interests and the best interests of your people, 100%, go for it. Me, I 100% unequivocally, I stand behind whichever American president stands behind the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, okay, which is freedom, all right, for all people, regardless of, what skin color you are, or what language you speak, or what religion, or whatever, okay, the Bill of Rights, all right, First Amendment, Second Amendment. So the reason that they came up with this idea of freedom in America is because the founders, they came from very oppressive, monarchs, kingdom empires in Europe, where they had been ruled over for centuries, and their freedoms were taken away, and they came up with a very excellent way to deal with that. Actually, it was started in one of the, constitutions was started in, Great Britain. Okay, you probably know what I'm getting at here. The Magna Carta, okay, which was one of the first documents which came up with the idea that whatever laws the rulers, the people in power, whatever rules that they make, they have to follow the same laws. That's basically what the Magna Carta, that's basically the purpose of, was the purpose and is the purpose of the Magna Carta. The American Constitution, the issue that they saw is that, well, it didn't really work because there was no insurance policy to really, seal the deal. So that's why they came up with the Second Amendment, okay, the right to bear arms, which is first and foremost to have a power balance between the people and the government, so that when the government, not if, when the government, overreach and, abuse their power, at least the people have, they have options, right? They have a way to say, no, you're not gonna, you're not gonna take our freedoms away, right? So, and it's that, and it's basically the idea that it is possible to have a system of governance where security is a shared responsibility. It's not just that we pay our taxes and then the police will take care of security. No, that's not how it's supposed to work in America. Obviously, it's not perfect, and freedom isn't free. Even in America, even with their Bill of Rights and their First Amendment and their Second Amendment, you've still got the government and corrupt institutions and corrupt aspects of the CIA and the FBI who abuse their power and do insidious things in the background. But at least there is the foundation. So when I talk about freedom, I always talk about America because it started there. It started in America. Okay, so yeah. So whoever you are, I welcome you to let's have a conversation. Whether you're a Bālangi or a Pakeha like me, or a honky, a white-skinned, a white dude, or a New Zealand Māori, or a Pacific Island, or if you're Chinese, or if you're a Vietnamese, or whoever you are, okay, whoever you are, if you believe in freedom, if you realize that within any aspect of life, whether it's your work or family or or in the political climate, you have to fight for your freedom, and it doesn't necessarily mean violently fight for your freedom, but you have to use an appropriate level of aggression, whether that's legally or or if the shit really hits the fan, you're able to, and someone's trying to mess with you and your girlfriend and your kid, you're able to say, look, you cross this line right here, you're going to have a problem, if it really gets to that level. But depending on what the level is, so yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's just what I do. I just kind of blurt it out like that. There might not have been a proper linear a linear timeline to this video, but at least there's some kind of some kind of reference frame that we can use as a kind of a baseline of a discussion that we can have. Okay, so thank you for watching this video, and yeah, have a good day. Stay safe.